In a disturbing trend that has raised concerns among law enforcement and the public, scammers are now masquerading as food delivery workers to exploit unsuspecting victims. These nefarious individuals are taking advantage of the trust of people that place food orders with delivery services, and there are various fraudulent schemes that they're using. In recent months, reports such as scams have been on the rise, prompting authorities to issue a warning to residents and urging them to exercise caution and verify identity of anyone claiming to be a food delivery worker. Local law enforcement agencies have received several complaints about individuals pretending to be delivery drivers from popular delivery apps such as Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Grubhub. The scammers employ a variety of tactics to deceive their victims, including using counterfeit uniforms, fake identification, and even stolen delivery bags. One common scam involves perpetrators arriving at a victim's doorstep and claiming to have a food delivery. They then present a counterfeit delivery app and ask for payment in cash, insisting that there has been an issue with their app or payment processing. Unsuspecting victims, eager to enjoy their meal, often hand over cash, only later to discover that they've been scammed. Now, I guess my big question is, how are these people even finding out that you've ordered something or that you're expecting an order from a delivery service? That makes me wonder if there's someone on the inside, another actual delivery person helping them out. But okay. Another variation of the scam involves fake delivery drivers delivering empty or incorrect orders and then demanding additional payment to rectify the mistake. Victims, eager to resolve the situation quickly, sometimes fall for the ploy, and they're basically further lining the scammers' pockets. Now, authorities have urged the public to take several precautions when receiving food deliveries. One, verify the delivery app. Always confirm the legitimacy of the delivery service by checking the app or website that you use to place your order. Be cautious if the delivery driver claims to be from a service that you did not use. Two, again, that goes back to how would they know that you've even ordered food? I'm confused, but anyway. Two, check for proper identification before handing over payment. Request that the delivery worker shows their official identification, which usually includes their photo, name, and the name of the delivery service, and compare this information with the app's details where you actually placed your order. Three, pay electronically. Whenever possible, opt for electronic payment methods through the app rather than cash transactions. This will help prevent scammers from taking advantage of cash payments. And four, report suspicious activity. If you encounter a suspicious individual posing as a food delivery worker, report the incident to the police and the delivery service provider. This can help authorities track down and apprehend the scammers. And three, be skeptical of unsolicited offers. Be cautious of unsolicited offers from food delivery services that you did not order. Scammers may try to lure you into providing personal or financial information through phishing attempts. Also, another one I remember reading somewhere is another reason why you don't want to do cash, even if it's a legitimate delivery person, is it's been reported when people leave the room to go get their purse or their wallet or whatever, that delivery drivers have stolen items when you're not looking. So that's another thing to be careful of. That's not necessarily dealing with the fake delivery driver, but you just want to be careful in that regard as well. Law enforcement agencies are actively investigating these scams and are working with delivery service providers to identify and apprehend the culprits. Meanwhile, delivery companies are cooperating to enhance security measures and to raise awareness among their customers. In an era where food delivery services have become a staple of modern life, it is crucial for consumers to remain vigilant and stay informed about potential scams. By taking the necessary precautions, individuals can protect themselves from falling victim to these fraudulent schemes. Ms. Senior World Pageant was founded by Sherry Struther in 2020. Her vision was to create an environment where women ages 50 to 79 could come together to boost confidence, share platform issues, and forge new friendships. Ms. Senior World is a way to show the value that mature women bring to their communities and the world. There are 4 areas of competition: interview, red carpet fashion, sportwear, and evening gown. And it's held in the beautiful Gulf Coast of Biloxi, Mississippi. A winner is selected in her 50s, in the 60s, and in the 70s. Those are 3 different age ranges of the winners. Now, making this pageant completely unique as a result. Now, our guest, Gina Moss, holds the Ms. Senior World 2023 National Crown. She represents women in their 60s, and she's here to discuss the life-affirming aspects that mentorship has had in her life. But her most powerful message to women is, don't be afraid to do things that scare you. Gina believes that the best years are yet to come for women if we will simply take a chance on ourselves. Gina, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Sunita. I'm really pleasure to be here.
So I know you hear all the time how beautiful you are, but as well, how smart and how successful and productive you are to the community as a whole. And that's really what Aging with Purpose is all about. So please share your experience in joining the Ms. Senior World Pageant and your why.
Well, there are a lot of different reasons, but one of the reasons, we actually retired to Florida in 2016. And like many other people that are retired, I was really looking forward to all the time that I was going to have and the things that I was going to do at that time. But what happens a lot of times, I think I'm not unique in this way, is that women get complacent a little bit. You know, we're out making our way in the world as career women and mothers and everything else that we do in the community. And then all of a sudden, we just get a little bit of time for ourselves. And sometimes time, too much of it, is not the greatest thing because it does cause you to kind of go into a comfort zone. And this was my experience and part of what brought me to Miss Senior World. I actually went to the pageant the year before I won to see a friend of mine compete. And it got me thinking about it because she got up there and, you know, there had been many years. I hadn't seen her in almost 40 years. She got up there and she seemed to have more confidence than I recalled her having when I knew her in her 20s. And that intrigued me. So I thought about what I might want to gain from the pageant and the value that I might bring to it. I did a little bit of investigation, found out that it was a very supportive environment for women, that there were friendships that were being forged that were not just for pageant week, but that went on forever. And that it was all about supporting women and their advocacy in the community for different things. And I thought, this is exactly what I've been looking for. And I've been so glad. And just to get the crown, oh my goodness, I had to bring that so that all of your viewers could see this beautiful crown and the sash. That was not in the plan, but it certainly was the cherry on top of the ice cream sundae.
Tell me, what is the process? I know right now there's a competition that's coming up. I believe it's in October, November.
Yes, it's the last week of October, and the finals will be this Saturday. I believe that's November 4th or November 5th at the Civic Center in Biloxi. And you will see everybody compete for the title that night in each of the age groups. As you mentioned, there's a 50s category, the 60s category, and the 70s category.
How many women are they, and how many days does the whole process?
It starts on Monday with the finals being on Saturday. Friday night is the semifinals. So, you get an opportunity to see everybody if you come on Friday night. But on Saturday, you just see the finalists. This year, because of economic conditions, we don't have as many as we have in the past. This year, we have around, I think, 16, and we have people coming in from, this is a global pageant at this point. We have somebody coming in from Canada, somebody that's coming in from France. So last year, I know that we had somebody that came in from the Swiss Alps, believe it or not. So it's very, very well known amongst the global community. And we feel as though next year, when the economy is a little bit better on track, we're going to have even more women, because we've already had a lot of interest since the deadline closed on September 1st.
Okay, because it says the Miss World pageant, my first thought was, are the women joining like a local or a statewide competition, and they have to win that before they can join this one? How does that work?
Yes, and that's a great question, Sunita, because I was wondering the same thing, and that's part of my investigation was, what do you actually have to do? There are some states that do have preliminary pageants, and you'll find that out by going on the website and speaking with either Sherry or Sarah Jo. And I know, for instance, Alabama is one of those pageants, one that has a preliminary pageant, and they have quite a number of people actually went to it this year. They have quite a number of people that compete, and it's a very large preliminary, and you have to win that in order to go to the national finals. But most of the other ones are at large, which means if you've looked at any of the other systems, such as Distinguished Young Women, there are a couple of other ones, teen pageants. Those oftentimes what you do is you apply for a state title. And if there's no one else that has actually applied for your state, you are awarded that title, the crown and the sash, and you can come and compete with just that at-large status. So in Florida, strangely enough, we had somebody that had already applied for Florida. So I had to gain another title of this particular area in Florida in order to compete in Florida. So sometimes you might have two people from the same state, but oftentimes it's only just the one person from each state. And then last year, I think we had 39 that competed. So, it was an amazing group of women, really, really was.
Yeah, as we start giving more attention to women our age and up, that's going to explode. You're going to start seeing more women competing in each state. It's going to get a lot more competitive. We're going to make sure that happens. So tell me, okay, when I think of like the younger type pageants, I think of cattiness. And then when I think of our age, like you're kind of over that. So I'm guessing a lot of friendships are forged and you gain a lot of opportunities from connecting with the event. And like this speaking event, I'm sure you're getting a lot other speaking opportunities. How does that?
Yes, quite definitely. As a matter of fact, right after the pageant was over with, I had started writing a magazine article. I didn't know if I would be paid for this, if any magazine would take it, but I wrote a magazine article called RVing in High Heels, because my husband and I, in my sportswear competition, I did camping because that's what we do. We go out in our camper van and just, like we went out west and we saw Hoover Dam and we stayed in Sedona for a couple of weeks. We're just, active lifestyle people. And I thought that would be, important for other women to be encouraged and see, hey, she's in her middle 60s and she's out doing these amazing things. So that was a part of what we did. And I really enjoyed that so much. And I feel like that brought a lot of value to the program to see, somebody out there that's out doing that. So that was one part of it. And I'm sorry, I've gone off on a tangent of how exciting it was to share that with people. But you had another question.
Oh, I forgot.
Well, that's okay. Hey, you know what? We have a senior moment. We actually own that because we are seniors at this point. But I think I was just talking about, that was just one area of the competition, but I think it's exciting for women to get out there. Oh, the cattiness. Sorry about that. Yeah, I didn't find that to be the case. I think that, if you look for things, you certainly will find them, but I was not looking for that when I got there. I was there to be supportive of the other women And the people that I made photos with backstage and hung out with and went back and forth during the course of the week to the rehearsals and everything with, we were all extremely supportive of each other. And I think that ended up the way that it came out too, because it was just coincidental. But those of us that were really supportive with one another seemed to be the women that won or placed in our category, which I think the judges see that. They see that spirit of that you're there to form friendships, network, because there are other opportunities that are well outside the realm of what senior beauty pageant can bring. We've had opportunities to be on game shows. There are, the opportunity that I had that had to do with the camping. I actually submitted this article to a camping magazine that's a national magazine. And I actually they paid my way and everything for me to go outside of Atlanta to speak to 500 women that were at a luncheon that were just there for camping. And there were 5,000 people that were there at the rally. But I had an opportunity just to talk to these women, and I talked to them about taking a chance. Being complacent is great. Sometimes it's good to take time for yourself. But if you're not doing a little bit of something in your life as a senior that scares you a little bit or that you're not 100% comfortable with, then you're not challenging yourself. And, what is life about if we're not growing and renewing ourselves every day and learning new things? I think that's the most exciting thing about being older, is having the time to learn these new things.
Yeah, so that taps into the mentorship that you're advocate for, because I think most of the time we think of mentoring in our youth, our 20s,
Yes.
30s, just starting a career, but mentorship is important even in our age range, because I think often we have more fear at this stage. Are you mentoring other women? Are you using this platform to inspire other women at this?
I definitely am. I'm doing that. For this luncheon that I spoke to for the 500 ladies, they were all ladies that were basically my age or older than me for the most part. But I'm using my platform of mentorship with some really young girls that are teenagers and in their 20s, because just as, we get older and we're a little nervous about doing things. What's great about getting to be older is we can mentor people because we've learned through the years how to do so many things. And a lot of our culture is being lost because the younger people that are very high tech oriented, that we could certainly learn some things from, they haven't learned some of the things that we grew up with. And a lot of those things are social skills, how to have one-on-one conversations. I mean, we're doing this high tech on Zoom, but just to have a conversation with your grandparents, just to have a conversation with another friend instead of texting. Those are important things. Those are important social skills. Teaching them how important the written word is, to write a personal thank you, especially if they're competing in some form of a pageant where there's scholarship money available and they get that scholarship money and they have sponsorship of that pageant. You definitely should take your time and write a handwritten thank you note. They're just lost areas of culture that I feel are important to pass on. And then there are the skills that we have. Just for me, everyone has something that they're really, really good at, or multiple things that they've learned through their lifetime. But for me, I have an arsenal of recipes that I got from my grandparents, my mom, from friends that I've accumulated, and they're from scratch recipes. And for me, part of showing love is making something really tasty from scratch and sharing it with somebody. And I think that's another thing that in culture, we're so busy, especially with the younger kids and their parents. There's a lot of grab and go for dinner time. It's a wonderful, life-affirming, soul-affirming thing to be able to sit down and enjoy a home-cooked meal together and the conversation that ensues.
Yeah. So what would you say has been your aha moment from joining the pageant? Or do you have anything to share that maybe other women who were in the pageant, that they felt that they got from it, that some of our listeners who might want to consider, looking into joining the pageant, something that might
Yes.
inspire them?
I think everyone gains something different because we are all wired so differently. But I can say, speaking for myself and the other two queens, the one who's in her 70s and the one that is in her 50s, the one that's in her 50s is still actively working. The one in her 70s is actively working. What they gained, the one in her 50s, is she gained, it was her second beauty pageant she had ever been in. I think the other one was when she was in her 20s or maybe even younger than that. She gained a sense of self-confidence and a feeling that she could just do whatever she set her mind to do, because she joined rather last minute and then she ended up winning. And there were other girls that had competed through the years and had actually competed, I think, in some senior pageants. And she was able to win the crown, and she was really encouraged by that. The gal that's in her 70s, she's fantastic, and she's, boundless energy, and she's gotten a place on the board. Sherry is really great about that. She offers her former queens, based on their talents and what they exhibit throughout the year, she offers them an opportunity to be on the board. So both of these ladies, the lady in her 50s and the lady in her 70s, are both on the board, and they're both working. One is a fitness and nutrition, the one in her 50s, and the other one is working with our corporate sponsors. And I'm going to be working as the corporate communications person. So I'm excited about that. But, Sherry sort of waits for the year, and then she gets to know you very personally, and she finds something that's just a perfect position for you if you want to do that. And for me, because I used to do a lot of focus groups and writing of corporate manuals and group presentations in front of people, for me, that was a natural fit for me to, and then writing the article that was picked up and I was paid for in the National RVing magazine. All of those things kind of fit what was a need within the organization. And Sherry loves to offer you something that you can just get in there and sink your teeth into and do a really great job at. And you do have a little bit more time to do things like that when you get a little bit older. And it's nice to have the time to do something that stretches you and you learn something new from it. And that's what I've found from the pageant. That was my aha, is that I can still learn new things and be a valuable contributor.
Wonderful. What is, if you know, I'm not sure if you do, what is the vision for Ms. Senior World Pageant? Do you want it? Do you envision it becoming, on televised, or just YouTube in person? What is the ultimate vision?
I believe that Sherry's ultimate vision, I won't speak 100% for her, but we've talked a lot about, kind of a mission statement and what she wants to do with it. She would love to see nothing more than 50 state representatives and an international competition. And I think that, next year, I think we're going to have that once the economy is a little bit more stabilized. She wants to offer every woman an opportunity to be treated like a queen and to have that experience, like a little seed that's planted in the ground and she's pouring the water on it and then, gosh, it sprouts, it becomes a beautiful thing. She wants to offer that to everyone. And the pageant has been broadcast on YouTube the last several years, and we have wonderful talent, international talent. Some of us, like myself, I'm going to entertain this year because I went to college originally on a vocal scholarship. It's great to have an opportunity to entertain 2 or 3 of the other queens. We've got a queen in her 80s that's coming back, and she dances and she's phenomenal. It's just encouraging. It just shows women, look, okay, if you're 50, 60, 70, or even like Betty in your 80s, it's not too late to get out there and stretch your stuff and have a little bit of a good time and show other people how it's done. I had a lot of young folks, some of the younger girls that I mentor through Distinguished Young Women, Miss Alabama Teen, or the Miss Alabama program. They watched that pageant and they thought, this is really great. I mean, they had great feedback for me once it's over with. Like, oh, I like that you did that. I picked up something that you did in your evening gown competition. Oh, this was really neat. I didn't think about that. Oh, I liked your onstage answer to your question. So, we learn from each other. I think that's a very collaborative process. And I think Miss Senior World, as Sherry collaborates with her winners, I think she finds a way to stretch and to, basically the sky's the limit. She's not limiting herself.
Yeah.
She is opening herself for all good things that come her way.
Mhm. I believe that this is the perfect time because we are embracing our age more. And like right now, there's was it the Golden Bachelor
Yes,
for,
yes.
yeah. So right now is the perfect time. And I definitely want to support your growth as much as possible. So yay.
Yay for
I'm
that. And
looking
that's,
forward.
Sunita, that I noticed the same thing too. And I was doing some research yesterday about that. And, the viewing habits have changed as far as people that watch television. The people that continually watch TV, live TV, and not streamed TV, they are an older subset of the population. But they have, a lot of times, older people have higher income and can spend more money. So that's another reason that they have looked into going to a more targeted Golden Bachelor type of a demographic, because they have disposable money. They're loyal watchers. They're not quite as involved in streaming platforms, and they buy when they see commercials. They buy. So I think there is certainly a place to promote the senior population, all the values that we bring, and then now this is going to show all of those younger bachelors and bachelorettes. Hey, these senior people know how to date a man who knows how to treat a lady who knows how to act like a lady. I'm happy to see it.
Absolutely. You said a lot right there.
Well, we'll see when we see the show, but I think we're going to see that. I really do.
Yes, definitely. No tables being thrown or anything like
Oh,
that.
no, ma'am.
Thank goodness. How would our listeners learn more about the Ms. Senior World pageant?
The best way, we have a phenomenal website, and it answers a lot of common questions, but I think you'll see by the quality of the website, and it's monitored, on a daily basis. So everything's updated all the time. But go to the Ms. Senior World, or rather seniorworldpageants.com. That's the website. And you can go to Ms. Senior World and just search for that on Facebook. And that's a very interactive page. Most of the queens will post 2 or 3 times a week. It can be what we're doing, if we've had a speaking opportunity, if we're doing outreach in the community with veterans, which is a huge portion of what a lot of the queens do. Anything that we think of, sometimes it's just a positive or encouraging thought. I do some newsletters that are based on what the women that are competing ask me about, because oftentimes what will happen is the ladies that are competing in the 60s category, Sherry will furnish our names, the current winner, and we'll just reach out to them and answer any questions they have. I get a lot of questions on skincare. I get a lot of questions on style, sportswear, just general questions, diet and exercise. I mean, just a variety of different things. But we actually post things like that, and you can see that. It's not a website. This Facebook page is something that everyone can look at. And then once the women have actually signed up and they're going to be competing, there's a specific private Facebook group just for the delegates that are competing for the title of Miss Senior World. And on that one, there's even more information, and you can go more in depth and get your questions answered there. It's very, very interactive.
Wonderful. Is there anything that you wanted to share that I may have missed?
The only thing is I just have 2 things that I think of, because I think, it's very mind and body are connected in terms of your overall health and spirit as well. And so there are a couple of little thoughts. I talked about this in my judges interview, and I tried to mention this whenever I could during pageant week. But one thing that I like to say to people is, be very conscious about coordinating mind, body, and health, because a person who has really good health has a million dreams, but a person who has poor health has only one. That's a really heavy thing to think about, but I think we should all be taking really good care of ourselves and encouraging others to do the same. And then the last thing that I could leave you with is just a parting thought that I have to call to action the ladies out there. And I would say, if not now, then when? That's my question. We can't just wait for things to happen. We can't just wait to make decisions on things, because we don't know what tomorrow brings. But if you have thought about doing something and you just haven't done it, I would just go ahead and take that step Even if it's a scary little step, go ahead and take that step and challenge yourself and do something, because you might be completely amazed and surprised at actually where you go with that.
Yeah, just like the woman who joined at the last minute and won.
She would tell you that. She was the one. She looked so shell-shocked when she won. We were all like, what was that look on your face? She goes, I was in shock. So that was probably one of the highlights of the week, certainly for me. But all of it was great. The three of us are really good people in terms of supporting one another. It's great because the 50s person is super tech savvy, so she can teach myself and the 70s person something. I kind of have my own little thing. The lady in her 70s has her own little thing. We pass these little things back and forth with one another all the time and help each other all the time. And I think really that working relationship is what the pageant was designed to foster and have happen.
Yeah, love it. Thank you so much, Gina, for joining us.
Thank you, Sunita. I really, really appreciate it. It was a pleasure to meet you.
You as well.